So Timpi has had 3 node sales so far, and all of them sold out quickly. Now sure, some might say that's just a good hype or a good marketing, but when a project consistently sells out and builds real momentum, that usually points to genuine demand from early believers. And on the 29th of June, they are launching what might look like their final round, and it's shaping up to be also just as competitive. Now, because of how fast these nodes go, the first 3 days of the sale are going to be whitelist only. And I've got you covered. I've secured an exclusive whitelist for my community with a form linked in the description section. I would also give you a tip on how to unlock an additional 5% on top of your 10% discount. And if you're watching this after the whitelist closes, don't worry, you can still use my referral link to get a discount as long as the nodes are still available. In today's video, I'll break down exactly what Timpi is, why their model matters, and how you can earn rewards by running their node. Let's dive in. So what is Timpi? Timpi is building the world's first largest decentralized web index, community driven, backed by a real network and a real utility. But a web index sounds way too funny, so let's break it down. Think of a web index like a map of the entire internet. Before a search engine, for instance, can give you results, it has to crawl websites, organize the information, and store it in a structured way. Now that's what an index is. It's a giant library of web pages that, for instance, the search engines pulls information from when you type in something. Now Google and Microsoft Bing are 2 of the most popular web indexes out there. But here's the problem. They are completely centralized, and the worst part of it is that they track your every move, sell your data to advertisements, and filter your search results based on what they want you to see. Now Timpi flips that model completely. They are building a decentralized version of the internet's database, or to put it simply, a web index. But instead of being controlled by a corporation, it's powered by a global network of nodes, which are simple, regular computers run by people like you and me. Now these nodes crawl the web, store data, and serve up these results without civilians or centralized control. That means that there is no tracking, no ad manipulation, and no censorship, just pure, unfiltered search. And they are not starting from zero. Timpi has already indexed over 5 billion web pages, which is quite remarkable. And their highly anticipated search engine is set to launch this summer. Now here are a few examples of how an index like Timpi is building becomes a powerful monetization engine. The most obvious use of a web index is powering a search engine, which Timpi is going to launch their own this summer. As more people switch to Timpi for search, especially those who care about privacy, transparency, and unbiased results, the web index becomes the backbone of a new kind of search economy, and Timpi can monetize the search experience without selling user data. A second example is with the AI companies. Now, large language models like ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok rely on high-quality structured internet data for their training and fine-tuning. And right now, a handful of companies dominate that supply chain, and there is a demand for clean, fresh, and diverse web content. Now, Timpi would sell, for instance, API access to their web index as a data feed for these large language model trainings, giving developers and AI companies structured contents for their models. Now this kind of licensing deal could be a huge B&B revenue stream. Now the third example is third-party decentralized applications, which are typically called dApps. Just like Ethereum powers thousands of applications, Timpi's web index could power decentralized applications that rely on structured web data. Now we are talking about things like applications that helps you discover and organize useful content, fact-checking tools that verify online claims, news platforms that show stories from all the sides, not just what the media wants you to see, or even social applications that link to real, verifiable sources from across the web. Now these applications could all tap into Timpi's web data, and Timpi could earn every time they do so. And honestly, it doesn't stop there. The use cases go on and on, from powering decentralized applications to serving AI models to helping researchers and even legal teams. Now Timpi is building something way bigger than just a search engine, and the ways they could monetize this is also massive. Now what really caught my attention is this: the global search engine market was worth over 180 billion in 2024, and almost all of that goes to a handful of giant companies. But what if a fraction of that shifted towards decentralized models like Timpi, now where the data flows to the people who actually run the infrastructure? Even capturing about 0.1% of that market would represent hundreds of millions in potential revenue. And unlike the traditional centralized companies that are out there, Timpi would redistribute this value through their NTMPI token, rewarding, for instance, node operators instead of just the shareholders. Now the Timpi team has been building for over 4 years now. They are fully doxed, super transparent, and made up with tech enthusiasts who are clearly passionate about what they are doing. You can actually find a few interviews with them online where they deep dive into how the network works and what they are building. Definitely worth checking out. Now, if you've had a solid feel of what Timpi is and the huge market they are tapping into, let's talk about their nodes and the upcoming node sale. So the Timpi network doesn't rely on massive server farms. Instead, they have built a distributed network of nodes run by the community. Now, because the Timpi network cannot exist without these nodes, they are obliged to keep the node operators happy, and mostly in terms of rewards, because if we turn off our nodes, their whole business model crashes. There are 4 types of nodes on their network. It starts with the collector nodes, and these are the internet crawlers, constantly scanning websites and collecting fresh data to feed into Timpi's growing web index. Now you can think of them like scouts exploring the digital world 24/7. But they don't work alone. That's where the Geo-Core nodes comes in. These nodes act like coordinators. They assign tasks to the collectors, balance the workloads, and make sure that there are backups in place. Without them, the whole system would slow down. So they keep things organized and running efficiently. Once the data is collected, it needs to be stored, and that's the job of the Guardian nodes, which, by the way, I own one myself. These are like the digital libraries of Timpi. They store the indexed pages and deliver them when someone makes a search. So if the collectors are the scouts, the guardians are the vaults. And finally, they have the Synaptron nodes. Now these are where the AI magic happens. They take the raw data and make them smarter by adding, for instance, structure, tagging content, and even analyzing images. Now Synaptrons make the entire web index more useful, especially for powering things like AI models and decentralized applications. So in short, collectors fetch the data, the Geo-Cores manage the system, the guardians store the information, and the Synaptrons makes them intelligent. Now all these nodes are going to be available for purchase starting from the 29th of July, with the Geo-Core nodes being sold for the first time. Now the breakdown of the node sale: there would be 500 Founders Edition of the Geo-Core nodes. There would also be 300 Founders Edition of the Synaptron nodes. 200 standard guardians would be available, as well as 150 standard collectors. The Founders Edition are typically the maiden editions, and these typically earn higher rewards, and that is why it always pays to get in early. Now from a pricing, the Geo-Core would go for $850, the Synaptron $1,250, the Guardian $1,125, and the collector for $625. But if you use my referral code and the tip I'm going to give to you, you're going to unlock a 15% discount, which will knock down the prices. Now the monthly rewards for each node are guaranteed for a period of 2 to 3 years, depending on the node type, and they start high before gradually tipping off. But every node on the Timpi network is going to continue to earn as long as the Timpi network exists. So you are tapping into an infinite mining and reward pool. Now for instance, the Geo-Core nodes start at 800 NTMPI per month, and they settle somewhere at 300 NTMPI per month. But remember, this is the reward pool if all the nodes are online, but 100% of the time not all nodes are online. So that means that you would also get higher rewards because some nodes are technically going to be offline. So what you can see is getting in early really does pay off. It's also worth mentioning that Timpi also do have exclusive events, for instance Apex events, where they stress test their network, giving even more bonuses for node runners. Node runners also get ranks in their Knights Templar program, which gives additional discounts. Now the tokens that you earn from running these nodes are readily tradable on both centralized and decentralized exchanges. The rewards are typically distributed monthly and you can trade them immediately. So there is nothing like 1TG and stuff like that. Now what do you need to run these nodes? The specifications are not that high. The best part is that you can run these nodes on most of the basic computers that are out there, meaning you can run this on your own personal computer or even you can run it on a VPS like I typically do. I've set up thousands of different nodes and trust me, Timpi is one of the easiest nodes I've had to set up. And if you don't want to go through the hassle of running one yourself, you can always delegate your node to a node as a service provider for a few dollars a month. Now here is how you can buy your node and save big. You will get 10% off through my referral link plus an extra 5%, and here is the secret. You get an extra 5% if you pay your node using Timpi's native token, which is the NTMPI. That's a total of 15% in savings. Now the first step is to sign up. Just fill the whitelist form below in the description section. You will get an email from me with a private purchase link that already bakes in the 10% discount, which also gives me a kickback. Now I will be sending out the list latest by the 26th of July, so make sure that you do this quickly. Now important information is that Timpi issues all the node NFTs on the Neutaro chain, so you would need a Kepler wallet with a Neutaro address. Even if you are paying for the node in Ethereum, the NFT will still land on a Neutaro network. So make sure that you have added the Neutaro chain in Kepler. And if you don't know how to get the Neutaro chain, I've linked a step-by-step tutorial in the description section. In terms of payments, you can pay with NTMPI on Neutaro, typically for the best value. You can also pay with NTMPI on Ethereum or USDT or USDC on the Ethereum or Polygon network. And once the sale opens, use the link that I would send you via your email, connect your wallet, choose the node, and you are in. Remember, your access NFT is your key to joining the Timpi network and earn rewards. The best way, in my opinion, that I got the NTMPI tokens to unlock the additional 5% discount was to swap it through the Osmosis platform. And it's very simple. First, buy any crypto and swap it to Osmo. After that, send the Osmo to your Kepler wallet. Now, once you do this, head over to the Osmosis platform and swap your Osmo into NTMPI. You can also bridge your tokens through Ethereum to Neutaro, and the Timpi team has detailed out a post on how you can get some NTMPI tokens. Alright, that wraps up the full breakdown of the Timpi network and their upcoming node sale. So take 30 seconds, fill out the form in the description, and I'll send you a personalized link plus everything you need to know to buy the node and set it up. Just remember, this is not financial advice in any form. Depend projects, especially new ones, can be extremely risky, and actually most of them turn out not to be profitable. So always do your own research. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, drop a comment if you have questions, and subscribe for more Depend content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.